Hello, everyone. Yeah, I know. It's been about a week since I talked about something. I'm sorry. I was very busy and I was dealing with a few things that ate me alive, like moving, dealing with the cable company, holiday preparations, and I've been playing through Cuphead getting S ranks in the last week, but I am here, so please don't hate me. Anyways, what am I here to talk to you about? Well, let me ask you guys a question first. Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I had a place where everyone who was there just hated me? Ever wanted that? Yeah? Well, there's a place like that, and it's called Tumblr. A Tumblr rant video. I know, an original idea, but I'm not here to make fun of the normal stuff like the crying liberals, the agenda, or even the weird communities. At least not all of them. I'm more interested in what Tumblr has actually done. You'd think something as meaningless as Tumblr hasn't done anything to affect anyone in the real world, but you'd be wrong. So for anyone who's watching, I'm sure you're aware of what Tumblr is and what it's most famous for. It's mainly garbage that I enjoy laughing at, but hey, that's not what I'm here for today. Maybe for another video. I have a few reasons to why I just don't enjoy Tumblr as much as I used to. The first reason is personal to me, but I know others have gone through this too. My first reason is that Tumblr loves to talk about mental disorders in a positive light, like if they're a good thing and that you should be proud to be mentally ill. Like I said, I have a few personal issues with this because when I was a confused teen in a tough place, still learning right from wrong, this website told me that I shouldn't have to do anything about my own mental state and that everybody else should be suited to my own needs. Of course, this made sense to me back then because I was dumber, but it's terrible because this kind of mentality really came back to bite me in the ass later in life. Being thrown out into the real world, obviously no one was going to change for my sake, all because I have anxiety and depression. If I went through this, I'm worried about other people who have worse problems than mine. People who could really use help, but won't get it because they'll get brainwashed by the same garbage I was, and that's what's really depressing. Next reason, Tumblr has some of the worst fucking people. And I'm not talking about the liberals, I'm talking about next level douche canoes. The site has doxers, sociopaths, which I've actually been friends with, by the way, assholes who are untouchable because they hide behind white knights, and of course, the dreaded mobs ready to tear you to shreds if you say something problematic. Speaking of mobs, that leads me to my next point. Ever heard of a thing called Steven Universe? Well, like everything, it has a fandom, and this has got to be the absolute worst thing on the internet. Sorry, but there's no contest, and I'll explain why right now. There's been an artist called Zammy070 who was fairly popular at the time, and she's been harassed for a few things before, but it was nothing severe. But now we get to the time where the awful era started. She dared to do the unspeakable. She drew rose quartz skinny, which led to weeks of bullying, harassment, and eventually her trying to commit suicide. You'd think by now the fandom would stop, but no, during her recovery they continued to bully her and comment things about how they wish that she died. It was an awful thing too afterwards, for some of the harassers were doxxed, which is never a good thing. I don't care what you've done. Nobody deserves to get doxxed. I know it's an ugly story, but this really tells me one thing. Tumblr is just not the place for artistic freedom, and if you dare to step out of your place, you better get ready for a mob. With the most serious of problems out of the way, let's hit the problems that I can take care of in one or two sentences. Tumblr is filled with annoying people who have opinions that they treat like facts. People who pretty much ruin everything they touch, and after they ruin it, they throw it aside and start calling it cancer. Tumblr has some of the most hypocritical people on the planet, and last but not least, the people there are some of the most sensitive pussies that you'll ever see with their list of triggers. Okay, so what have we learned today? That Tumblr has the same level of toxicity as the YouTube comment section. No, wait, sorry. Look, if your Tumblr dashboard is more filled with memes and jokes, like how mine usually is, for those few moments it feels like a good place. Though sometimes you just can't ignore all the bad toxic shit there. Tumblr could have been a great place for you to vent sometimes and enjoy a joke or two, but look what they've done. They've made it into a social network for artists and fans to circle jerk, And they get to choose who stays and who is a racist, ableist, cis scum that deserves to be harassed to death. Well done. Okay, I'm done digging through this cesspool. This has been Z, and I'll see you in the next video.